How are you feeling with all of these intense energies going on in the world? How you doing? How is your body? How is your mind? Are you tired? Are you energized? Are you focused? Are you in limbo? Where are you? How are you feeling? Anybody? Um, Definitely will look for comments here, but I can share that I have been somewhat ambitious, as far as just getting more things done, still in my cleaning out energy right now. Very kind of home base focused. Like I'm really feeling more of a pull towards just really setting my house in order, if that makes sense. But I mean, work is work, right? Like we all have to work. But I'm wanting to make my home really feel like my safe and happy place. So I'm wondering if you all are kind of feeling that as well. I did something that I've never ever done this early ever before, and I put up my Christmas slash Yule tree yesterday and today. I've never I've never put it up this early ever, but I really wanted to do that. I've got some family coming in for Thanksgiving. But I really feel like it's more of that kind of happy home energy, and just be able to kind of enjoy the kind of the small little things that bring us happiness. So that's kind of what I'm feeling pulled to do right now. So another thing that I want to just kind of bring up or mention, and it's not like complaining or anything like that, but it's something that I've seen and heard across the board, is that and I have asked people that I know, like coming into the shop, who work in whether it's small businesses or retail type establishments. Also just kind of doing some digging online and kind of looking at things, and this quote unquote holiday shopping season has been thus far kind of lackluster for a lot, I think almost all retailers. And there are kind of the logical practical ways. Instagram keeps pausing here. Okay, sorry, Instagram. But there are kind of like the logical kind of things to look at that, or reasons why that may be happening. I mean, there's inflation, there's economy, there's a lot of unrest in the world, and people have been feeling the pinch in their pocketbooks for quite some time now, and it's not letting up. And I know that I've just seen and heard from so many people that, they're going to try to kind of like to make the best of things, this holiday season, focusing on handmade gifts, focusing on things that, are maybe more kind of service based, or, something that is maybe not as tangible, as gifts. I know that when I had people in for the shopping bazaar, when I had people in for the shopping bazaar last week? I think it was last week. People were buying things, but it was so that they could make things, for people. It was just like people just saying, like, just buying things just to buy things, just to fill up stockings and wrap. It just seemed kind of hollow or shallow, and they just really wanted to be able to make something to kind of make their money go a little further, but then also to not just spend money on things that it's like, do people really need this? So I get that. I'm a big fan of handmade gifts, or gifting something that is like doing something for someone, and that's one thing that I have really kind of been fighting against, honestly, kind of struggling with over the past several years, is just like consumerism in general, which is really it's been challenging as a shop owner, to not feel ethically that it was ethical for me just to encourage people just to keep buying more stuff. Of course, we have a lot of consumable goods at the shop, herbs and candles and soap and things that people are going to use, right? I mean, so it's useful. And, we all need soap. We all need candles. We need herbs to keep ourselves healthy or to make lovely teas or incense blends or whatever it is. But so I don't really feel like, that I have like ethical or moral issues with that stuff. But when it comes to just stuff, just to have things that are taking up space and maybe are just pretty or whatever. I mean, there is a use to something that maybe makes you feel really good or brings you a lot of joy. I'm not saying that, but when it comes to just getting stuff, I've just really felt that energy almost kind of offensive personally. And so I've really tried to kind of hone in on, what I offer through Inner Perfect, to be things that do have utilitarian use, offer things that people need. And then of course to try to encourage, things that are intangible, but in my opinion are just so valuable, like education, like self-care, like mind, body, spirit stuff. So, as you've kind of seen me grow and evolve, with what I offer the community, what Inner Perfect is. That's why, things have been morphing and changing. And I will continue to do so, as I feel, what is in alignment with me and what I have to offer, why I'm here, right? So, anyway, I know that things, for a lot of people have maybe been challenging financially. And then that in combination with just the collective energy of the planet and everything that is going on in the world in many different places, I think that we really feel that uneasiness. We feel that sadness, that division, and whether you're watching the news every day or having conversations with people or you're just kind of tuned in to what the vibe is on the planet, it can be very unsettling, for a lot of people. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about during this week's energy update. And it's like I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but I'm kind of wanting to just look at the astrological alignments and the reasoning as to why all of the stuff is going on and why you're feeling how you feel, and then to hopefully provide some not only conversation, just to kind of talk stuff out, but then also some remedies and ideas that are going to help you kind of get through this time. So, and I am going to do some card and oracle pulls as well, so that we're going to do that here in a little bit. So, basically, I want to look at the Vedic astrology components of kind of what is happening this month. And Vedic astrology, or sidereal astrology, is of course, a way of calculating astrological alignments based on where the stars, the planets, everything like is now. I have never, I'm never coming from a place of like dogging Western astrology. I mean, I think it definitely has its place. A lot of people, when you run your chart and your sun, moon, rising, and all of those things, you're using tropical astrology or Western astrology calculations, which is its own matrix. It is its own framework, which is valid. But when we look at current events and we look at energies that are happening and that are coming down the pipeline, Vedic astrology can really give you a very, very accurate timeline with that. So if what I talk about here in the next few minutes is different than maybe articles that you've read or podcasts that you've listened to or whatever about astrology, it may be because I'm talking about Vedic astrology and not tropical or Western astrology. Okay, so we are basically dealing with Scorpio and Mars in a couple of different ways in this month. Okay. So, of course, with like tropical astrology, Scorpio would have started October 23rd. But with Vedic astrology, we have the sun and Mars moving together more around within the next, so today's the 15th, so the 15th, 16th. Okay, so like now. And these are in the sign of Scorpio as well. Mars moves into Scorpio tomorrow, the 16th. So, an interesting thing too about Scorpio and its planetary kind of corresponding planet is that Vedic astrology uses like the old kind of rulerships and relationships between the planets and the signs. So whereas in Western astrology, Scorpio and Pluto are work together, or that is those are the ruling planet of Scorpio is Pluto in Western astrology. In Vedic astrology, the ruling planet of Scorpio is Mars. Okay. And so, and when we think of how that might kind of make sense or correspond, in your head, is of course the Scorpio is a scorpion and it's got its tail that has the venom, and it will fight, it will defend itself. It has that very kind of fiery, energy about it, even though Scorpio is a water sign, right? So aggressive energy, let's say that. So we have the sun and Mars moving very, very close together right now, and they will really continue to do that. Like we first have like a first degree, like they're both together in the first degree, which is kind of like the beginning of that energy. And then and then all the way to the 21st, it's only at 3 degrees. So it's like in the first couple degrees of Scorpio. And so it's a really, really intense energy that is starting out. So we have the sun and Mars moving together, okay, in the sign of Scorpio. And so this is a very, a very intense energy. It is a very aggressive energy. There is a lot of anger, explosive energy, things just, rising up and being expressed and kind of not letting up type energy. And Mars will officially enter Scorpio, like I said, on the 16th of November, moving out of Libra. And it is, Mars is the planet. Mars is the planet of war, of anger, of the very, very projective, intense divine masculine energy as well. And so with the things that were percolating and brewing and that have now just explosively come about, and they just don't seem to be letting up kind of in the world stage, a lot of that may have been brought about or kind of illuminated or intensified because of the eclipses that we had in October. Of course, we had 2 eclipses in October, and things kind of kicked off then. They were definitely already in motion, but when all of this stuff kind of blew up, and it's just going to continue. It is okay. I don't know how to say this. So I am not saying that anger and division and war and all of that is a necessary evil, but it is something that has, like I said, been brewing for a long time, and in my opinion, it's kind of inevitable as far as that we're going to reach ahead, and they're probably going to continue to be expressed in that way for a while, even like through December and all of this stuff, because there are so many systems that are broken. There are so many structures that are way, 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 way beyond like working really. They've been outgrown for a long time. We're shifting into different energies, but like all of this stuff has to come to the surface and or is coming to the surface because it needs to be cleared. And the very unfortunate fallout from that is loss of life, of tragedy, of just unspeakable things that are happening. And it's kind of like the dark aspect of human nature, and it can be, I mean, it's very sad, but it's also can be very scary. It feels so big, and it's just like, is this going to let up? When is this going to be over? And I think a lot of people are having a hard time just processing the energy in general, but then just intuitively and energetically what you're feeling, all of that unrest, all of that loss of life, and kind of like this torturous energy, and just all of this stuff. We feel it. It's like, it makes me think of like in Star Wars when that empire like blows up Princess Leia's like planet, and then it's like they say that they felt like a like a wave in the force, and it's just like all of these lives just kind of like screaming out in the silence at one time. The force is real, right? Whether you're looking at it in like this aspect of like Star Wars, or you're looking at it in just like energy, that the fabric of the universe. So we are all feeling this stuff that's going on, whether we are experiencing things personally, like in our moment to moment, day to day life, or if it's across the ocean. We are still feeling it. And so I wish the I wish it was like the insight was like, okay, well, this is just a little blip, or things are going to smooth out, and yeah, like in the long term, that's true. But just for right now, it's just going to be intense, and it's going to be intense for a while. And it is part of growth and change. And I wish we could all come from a place of love. I wish that we could all come from a place of compassion. But that the powers that be and the structures that are crumbling aren't coming from that place. The foundations that are way, way, way outgrown come from a place of control, and come from a place of domination and dishonesty. And that doesn't go on forever. It can't maintain itself, and it's crumbling, and we just have to try to get through it, as best as we can. So how do you do that? How do you get through this? The main thing is, it's kind of twofold. One is, love your friends, love your family, love yourself. Really focus on connection, on being compassionate, on being kind, on being patient. Although that's going to feel like, you're wanting to be reactive. You're, obviously the astrology that's going on too is not like it just affects world events. It's affecting you on a very personal level, in your sphere, in your relationships and interactions, and then it's like the bigger scale too, right? So it's going to feel like you're going against just what your natural inclination is, which would be anger, which would be fighting, which would be infighting, which would be discord, all of that. But how you get through this, and how you get through this on the other side with this whole change, and the whole point of all of this, or why all this is happening, is to try to tap into your sense of love, and of compassion, and of connection, and so all the opposites of all of these energies that are swirling all around us and through us right now. And being discerning, and maybe disengaging, from certain people or situations that are very upsetting for you, or that you're, finding yourself fighting, and, may be the appropriate call to action to do. It might be standing up for what you feel is right as well. But I've always used the analogy of a fire when it comes to energies like this, is that, if something is upsetting to you, and something is, even if it's really wrong, that when you react to that with anger and with judgment, that it is like pouring gasoline on that energy, right? You are meeting that disruptive energy with more disruption and more upset, and it just is like explosive, right? But if you, first and foremost, are doing your work to try to embody love and peace and compassion and connection, okay? Then when you offer love and compassion to a person, to a situation, even when you're like thinking about something, with intentions or prayers or energy, or whatever it is, when you are putting love into that situation, it is like there's a fire going on, right? But you have this really thick blanket, and it just puts a blanket on that fire, and it just kind of muffles the fire and the explosive energy, and it puts it out and neutralizes it. And so, like I said, I'm not telling anybody how to be or how to act or anything like that. But if you don't want to add to the explosive energy, and it has to be different. You have to meet that energy with something that is going to neutralize it. Okay. And I know that there are sometimes some situations where you have to just see who has the bigger fire energy. You have to see who has the bigger, almost like anger, I guess, because it is like a literal life or death type situation. I'm not saying not to do that if the situation calls for it. But yes, a lot of things can be very upsetting, and we can be really just naturally angry about things, about injustice, about, things that are wrong or whatever. But you are not helping the situation by feeding that fire with more anger, and I'm not just saying you, I'm saying all of us, right? So there's that. And but of course, when we are being kind of inundated with all of these energies, and we are just feeling so much intensity, we do have to take care of ourselves and those that we love, that are close to us, with compassion, with self-care, with decompressing, with grounding, with saltwater baths, all the things that I talk about that we can do, that are very simple, but very necessary to keep our energy clear. Because, when you are doing your own healing work, and you're doing your own clearing work, and you are trying to be in alignment with that love end of the spectrum, you're clearing anger, right? Or you're acknowledging it maybe, but then, trying to transmute that energy. Every situation that you do that work yourself, you are part of the collective, and so you are also helping the collective move to that vibration as well. So there are certain situations that may call you to be an activist, and may call you to be fighting, right? So I'm not saying never do that. That's your call. But if you really want to make some change, some big energetic waves, to be in alignment with the energy of love and compassion, you have to embody that energy yourself. That has to be what your focus is and what you're putting out there. So do what you can to nurture yourself, to take care of yourself, to raise your children, to bolster your friends and your family and those close to you, so that collectively, we can embody and embrace those energies, because that's really the most helpful thing. And in any situation that has a lot of fear and anger, and we're wanting to combat that. Um, so we will have around Thanksgiving, yay! Which I'm glad for Thanksgiving. I'm like I was saying earlier, I'm trying to kind of embody that energy of home and happiness and peace, just in my sphere. And I love getting together with family for the holidays. But on November, basically 23rd and 24th, the Mars will be squaring Saturn, and the sun is still moving very closely with Mars. So we've got Mars and the sun squaring Saturn. And when we have a square, it's like a really intense, like squaring off energy. So it's possible or potential that there could be kind of like something else kind of big that kind of happens around that time. And it's just smart to make sure you got gas in your car, and make sure that you got some like extra food, so that if you don't want to like get out of your house, you don't want to have to try to make a run to the grocery store or whatever, like just make sure that you have kind of what you need if you want to hunker down a little bit, whether it's just like you really have to hunker down, or it's I just can't be out in the world right now, hunker down. So you know not only making your home just your sanctuary, which is very, very essential and very good just in general, but just with all of these energies that are very volatile, it's just um, it's just good to be a little prepared, right? So I encourage you to do that. You don't have to stockpile for months and months and months. You can if you want. Probably wouldn't hurt, but just at least make sure that you're not going to go into a panic if you need you just need to make sure you got what you need for an emergency type situation, right? That's always smart, because then you're not like, well, if something happened, then I just would be up the creek. Like, well, just kind of make sure that you feel that you've got some bases covered. It's good to be prepared that way. So um, anyway, stuff is kicked off. Stuff is continuing to kick off with this intense energies with Mars, with Scorpio, and with the Sun and Mars moving so closely together. It's just like an enhancing, and it's that very projective energy for sure. So it's not looking like it's really going to let up this month. There are more things happening in December as well, regarding Saturn. So I just it's just probably going to be challenging, and we'll have moments of joy, and we'll have beautiful things that happen, and we'll make great memories, and all of these things. It's not like it's just doom and gloom, but it's just that uh, there's just not a lot going on right now that is just incredibly light. Scorpio is such an intense sign, and it is the depths, and it is that Punisher energy. It's moody. All of the, I mean, and there's so many beautiful things about Scorpio, but it's just like it is in the core of your guts, that we're feeling all of this too, which is just very, very visceral, very real, and very intense. So I just want to encourage all of you to take care of yourselves, to watch your stress levels, to do things to decompress, to do things to feel safe and grounded and protected and home, and do those same things for your loved ones, for your family, and encourage them to also do those things too. And, meditate, have positive affirmations, do things that help you feel that you are aligning with the energies of love and compassion, and you'll get through it so much more gracefully than if you're just pissed off, if you are just angry and bumping heads with everybody. Because kind of circling back to these kind of foundations, these worldly foundations that are crumbling, and this energy that we are, we are ascending, we are raising our vibration, we are moving out of this density, and it takes a while, but we're moving into this higher frequency, that division and having people fighting over the most core things about being human, like, whether it's the sexes, genders, color, creed, religious, spiritual beliefs, political affiliation, like all of this stuff. Um, if we're fighting about all of these things and say, well, I'm right, well, no, I'm right, well, you're wrong, and, then we're not paying attention to kind of the bigger picture of like this change and what's going on. And when we're all fighting with one another, we're much less effective as this collective group that can do so much good, that can look out for each other, that can help each other through tough times. If we're just infighting, then it's like, to each his own. And it puts us in energy of selfishness and of fear and all of that. So don't buy into it. Um, focus on love and compassion. I'm telling you, it's the way to go. So does anybody have, love and compassion isn't weak either, right? It's not. It's not like, oh, be weak and like, be passive. That's not what I'm saying. It is, it is, it is the energy that the universe kind of always wants to move into, when we're in these tough times.